Welcome back to the Nerd District. My name is Jeremy and today we are back with another video. Today's video is a little trendy video going on. Well, I guess at least trendy amongst the MCU Marvel fans. This video is Thanos versus 20 Avengers. Now, if you guys aren't hip to Jubilee and the little videos they be doing, at least I think this concept came from Jubilee. But basically, it's usually one person versus 20 of something. So it could be like one Democrat versus 20 Republicans, one Republican versus 20 Democrats, one gorilla versus 20 humans. You guys get the concept. And I think it'll be a pretty good video to watch and react to with you guys. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy and let's go.
You know, Thanos, I never understood such a stupid, hollow plan.
The plan was proven. It was executed multiple times. The entire universe united against it, and not one faction could stop it. And what did you do next to solve the problem? Nothing. And my planning is bad.
The Avengers have admitted to a few small errors. Small errors? I mean, small? Like creating a homicidal robot, dropping a city from space, starting a global civil war. Yeah, gosh. And it's crazy that the list goes on, right? Time traveling to undo their own disasters, and yet people still cheer for them. At this point, their best superpower might just be the PR. That is very true. That's funny how they put fact check, because that's something Jubilee does in their videos as well.
But not smart enough to think of doubling the resources instead of killing half of the people?
Double the resources? An excess of resources can be just as dangerous, just as destabilizing as the lack of them.
That is total bullshit.
I speak from experience.
Alright guys, like let's be real, right? Let's be so real. Yeah, what Thanos is saying sounds good and all. It's definitely not true. Like having abundance is definitely not like equally as bad as having less. Like that's just, I don't think that's how that works at all.
But even if your goal was to specifically limit the growth of population because you think it's the best plan, there are many other ways to do that. Locking the populations to a maximum number of individuals. Once that point is reached, it becomes impossible to get pregnant until someone dies.
Yeah, that is also very true. That would make sense.
You really think that would stop them? You think they wouldn't find a way around it? We live in a universe where magic and technology defy nature every day.
I get where Thanos was going with this. He's saying, you know, there's magic, there's technology, all these things that, yeah, people maybe could bypass it, but I think that snap would be pretty concrete. You know, maybe you could just snap again, actually. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that how he got rid of the stones in their universe to begin with? These are pretty terrible points. I'm not gonna lie.
You're really trying to convince us you had no other option when you literally held the power to reshape reality?
There is probably some super complicated, highly elaborated plan that could have worked. The more complicated the plan, the greater the risk of catastrophic error and efficiency.
And slicing existence in half doesn't risk things going wrong.
It's just the fact that the fact check says it's important to note that this guy's B plan was to destroy and rebuild the universe, the entire universe at that real minimalistic approach. That's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie to you.
A hell of things can go wrong. The first I can think about is how killing 50% doesn't leave you with 50% alive.
I'm pretty sure you could kind of select on who you kill to an extent, like not just random people not having parents, even though that did kind of happen.
But dependency is exactly why balance had to be forced. I know it causes chaos. I've seen it before. Planets that followed my plan rebuilt stronger. Every time the pattern was the same. Pain first, then order.
Okay, I can get that to an extent, but does this not sound like the same thing Pain from Naruto said, and then he even realized he was wrong? I don't know. It sounds good, but when you just think about it a little bit deeper, it's like, no, not at all, actually.
You preach your soft, easy views. A killing is bad, while the universe rots the same way it always has. You had the stones. You used them to put everything exactly back how it was.
That is kind of true. I did not think about that. They could have made things way better. Yeah, wait. Why didn't the Avengers... Hey, I'm kind of pissed off now. I'm not gonna lie.
It was a painless erasure. They weren't going to get a better ending, even in the best-case scenario. It was random and not biased. It can never be called a genocide.
I felt the horror of that snap, buddy. It's still by far the worst experience of my entire life.
Records show Peter has lost his uncle to a mugger, his mentor to sacrifice, his aunt to a supervillain, and dated in high school. Statistically speaking, the Snap is still fighting for second place. Hey, the fact that Spider-Man's life is still so bad that this doesn't sound like the worst thing that has ever happened to him, that's absolutely just nutty to me.
I was the only being in the universe with a power great enough to save everybody. And you know it best, Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility.
Bro really quoted Uncle Ben. How does Thanos even know? How do you even know that quote? Bloody murder, to be honest with you. I can't believe the fact that you were going to quote someone's dead uncle to justify deleting half of existence.
Would you do what you think is actually right?
I am certainly not going to go and kill all of them.
How dead? That's... Yo, that was funny as hell. He said, I'm definitely not gonna go kill all of them. Interestingly, a remarkable similar situation once occurred when the world actually did turn against Peter after Mysterio exposed him. That is, very true. He didn't quite understand and guide anyone. Instead, he asked a wizard to erase everyone's memory. He definitely didn't try to understand, everyone's point of view, like, he's saying here. But I don't think that equals, or is even close to murdering everybody.
My second claim is emotions have no place in decisions that shape the universe.
I will say I kind of do agree with this claim. If it's very large decisions, you can't always use your emotions to make those type of decisions. Sometimes they just need to be logical.
I sacrificed everything, even myself. I was ready for everything I love, even my own self, to be erased in that snap.
That is very true. Let's be real. He gave up his only daughter. Well, not only daughter, but the other one he turned into a robot, though. So, he really was 100% down for the mission. You know what I'm saying? But he believed what was right.
When you saw your planet dying, you suggested genocide, and you were laughed out of the door. And you developed a deep, selfish need for redemption.
Yeah, but why would he feel shame of that if he was right?
You mistake trauma for clarity. My planet's death didn't wound me. It opened my eyes. I learned that emotion blinds. That mercy can doom more lives than cruelty ever could.
And honestly, it's so hard to dispute what he's saying here, because there's nuggets of truth or nuggets of logic, but then they just get covered up in goops of just horse manure. Consistently. People banding together in a tragedy, I do think that sometimes that can be a better thing than banding together through mercifulness or whatever you want to call that. I do think that is very true, but again, destroying half of existence is insanity, brother.
Back when I was a surgeon, I believed precision and control could solve everything. Pain, chaos, even death itself. Losing my hands forced me to learn balance. Now I let my heart guide me as much as my mind.
Brother, you forgot you were human, brother? I feel like you're going the extra mile. Legitimately, with your job, you did need precision. You were a surgeon, brother. You just got into a car crash because you were stupid. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe they're going off the comic book versions, but it does not. Strange's newfound balance between heart and mind is duly noted. However, his heart may have slightly oversteered when he decided to rewrite the memories of the entire planet because one teenager was having a rough week. I will say though, crazy, I'm not gonna lie, it was a crazy ask and I don't know why he went about this thing. I will say I don't think he was just having a rough week. I think his life quite legitimately fell apart.
You stand there dissecting me as if I'm another case on your table, but I am not your patient.
Maybe I do have the bad habit of diagnosing. But allow me one last diagnosis. You've got a serious case of main character syndrome. I thought I was the center of the world until the universe reminded me I wasn't. The difference between us, Thanos, is that I learned to step out of the story. You still believe you're the only one who can write the ending.
So I see where Strange is going with this. I do think to an extent he actually is 100% right. I think Thanos kind of thought that his story was what was going to be the start of what he would call like a new universe, or a start to a new universe. Don't see how this has to do with the topic at hand, though. You guys get what I'm saying? I feel like we're very much steering off the narrow path there.
Thanos, my problem with you isn't just what you did, it's your entire worldview. You look at people and see problems to solve. I look at them and see lives worth trusting.
Trust them to do what exactly? Destroy themselves? Because that's what they do.
You don't just erase half of them and call it mercy. People have a right to choose their own path, even if it's messy, especially if it's messy.
Pause.
Saying I should respect the will of the people, even when I know they're leading themselves to ruin?
Yes, you should respect their will, even if they wrong.
Respect their will even though it's wrong. So if someone wants to murder themselves, should just respect it. Let me guide you back, brother. Like, no.
Conviction. Hypothetically, half the universe votes for my plan. A referendum, a democratic mandate. Would you still fight me? Or would you respect the will of the people?
That's not a fair question.
Oh, what? See, you see what I'm saying? Kind of just like what I was saying. Say someone wanted to kill themselves, or wanted to, like, you know, they agreed that killing a bunch of kids in an orphanage for the one time was permissible. You definitely would stop that. You definitely wouldn't sit there and be like, nah, America. Like, no, bro.
The Avengers don't serve the universe.
What are we talking about?
They serve their illusion of being its saviors. They realize that this universe is broken beyond repair. So I offer to create a new one. Balanced, abundant, free of suffering.
Right.
My boy Robert Downey Jr. What? Tony Stark?
We stopped you because you're not the god of this universe who gets to restart it whenever you don't like how things are going.
You did exactly that. You played God with space and time to change the universe back into a way that suited you.
We fixed what you broke. We're bringing it back to the way it was.
Which is what fits you.
That's very true. Fact check. According to a recent unofficial poll, the Avengers plan against Thanos ranked second in effectiveness with 97.3 approval, narrowly losing to Ant-Man enters Thanos. Yeah, I think we just keep going.
You don't trust me with restarting the universe, but you had the stones. Why didn't you do it?
Because I'm not a crazy psychopath who thinks he's a god.
You had the power to fix everything. End disease, hunger, war. And you chose not
to bring everybody back.
And bring their misery back with them when you could have stopped it.
Okay, I'm going to give Thanos this one. This is actually a very good argument where they're all saying, like, you know, your whole entire plan was wrong. You could have done more. You could have made a better plan. But in the same token, Thanos is very right with saying, but you just brought everyone back to the world you were already in, with poverty, with hunger, with evilness and all this. You could have made the perfect world. So why didn't you do that? Very, very good point. I mean, granted, of course, we know it's because King Conqueror, but still a good point nonetheless.
You had omnipotence in your hands, and you chose this, a world still full of suffering.
Because it's their suffering to overcome.
You brought back 5 billion people to a planet that was already collapsing under its own weight.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
I'm honest about making hard choices instead of pretending everyone can just...
Snapping your fingers is easy. Actually believing people
Believing
can.
accomplishes nothing when the ship is sinking.
I must say this. It's not just him snapping his fingers. Let's all be so real here. It definitely was more to do with it than just that. You were, regardless of what they thought his mindset was, he is erasing half of existence. So has to pull somewhat at his heartstrings. He's not a monster, right? I mean, he had 2 daughters. You know, he had to have loved somewhat. We know he loved Lady Death in the comics. There has to be a part of him that he just knew he was making the hard choice.
Murder is an action.
Restoration
it's
isn't
surrender.
Salvation. It's delusion.
Says the guy who wanted to kill literally everyone. You can't save people by erasing
them. And you
them.
can't save them by doing nothing.
Alright, y'all, so that was a pretty interesting video, honestly. They made pretty decent points on both sides. I'm pretty sure they have like a Batman versus like his villains or something like that, so that's gonna be another one that I'll be very interested in watching. However, the points they were making were pretty valid. At the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, Thanos, he was tripping. But later on, with making the point of, yeah, you know, my plan could have been better, but so could have your plan been better. That sounded weird the way I said it. I don't know, I'm not tripping. But yeah, I thought this was a very interesting video. I definitely liked it. I liked the voice acting and stuff like that. Again, the Tony Stark voice acting, that was peak. So I'm definitely interested in watching the Batman one. Whatever it may be, I might end up putting it somewhere up here so you guys know what I'm talking about. I'll be very interested in doing that. So let me know if you guys want to see that down below. Don't forget to drop a like and, of course, subscribe. Turn on post notifications. That's all I have for you guys today. And until next time, I'll see y'all.